I'm not sure who has joined us that hasn't heard the first one, but if you're new here, just want to remind everybody that this will be recorded and will be able to be posted to the project website for view later on. And so if you miss something in this presentation, you can capture it later. With that, I'll hand it over to Brandon to do the introductions and walk us through the start of this presentation.
Sure. Thanks, Kyle. Welcome to the Partner Dust meeting for the Otterdale Road Drainage Improvement Project, Horsepen Creek 1. This is a virtual presentation, and we're hoping to have future meetings in person, but as current conditions don't allow us to meet in person. This is the second presentation of the Otterdale Partner Dust meeting, of Otterdale Road Drainage Improvements. We'll have a brief question and answer period at the end of the presentation. If you were on before the slide, there's a chat function with Teams. Use on your computer or mobile device. And if there's, if you'll notice the text at the bottom, the blue text, that is the Otterdale Road Drainage Improvements website. So again, my name is Brandon Schock. I will be the host for tonight's meeting. Amongst a few others, we have representatives from Chesterfield County, Kokosa Construction Company, and Rinker Design Associates. I'll ask Nate to introduce the county representatives again.
Not a problem. Hello, I'm Nate Mathis. I am the project manager for the county on this project. I work in the transportation department at the county. Also with us, we have Board Supervisor Kevin Carroll, and I know you want to just unmute and say hello briefly.
Good evening, everyone. It's a very informative presentation, and feel free to ask questions, and I'll let it get back to the presentation.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your support. Let's see, do we still have Mr. Owens on the call? I don't know if Planning Commissioner Mr. Owens. I think he's here. Let's see. We also have from our transportation department, we have on the call, we have our director, Brent Epps. We have our assistant director, Chessa Walker. We also have my backup project manager, Bill Arell. We also have several other departments represented. From fire, we have Chief Fitch. From police, we have Captain Seamster. I apologize for not introducing you at the first round of this, sir. I'm glad you're here. We have from school bus transportation, we have Miss Janine Hoover. And I believe that is everyone. I'm checking the roll here from the county. I believe that's who's here. From VDOT, our partners on this project, we have Rebecca Worley. She's the resident engineer for the Chesterfield residency. So we're glad to have her here. I think I forgot to introduce her last time as well. I apologize. We also have some consulting friends here helping us who did the design on this Horsepen crossing, who are very familiar with the ins and outs of that, as well as the permitting. Leading the road design on the call, we have Mike Shiflett. We also have, for permitting, we have Carter Teague. For the drainage and hydraulic design, we have Alice Ortman. So we have all the experts here to answer any of those specific questions resulting from the design there. So I'll turn it over to Kyle if you want to introduce Kokosing. Kokosing is the contractor who has been awarded the project for all three of these crossings. We're very excited to have them on, and turn it over to you, Kyle.
All right, great. So glad to be here. By introduction, I just want to introduce Ryan Gorman. He is on the call here. He's our design build project manager. He's been working in the county in this region for 20-some plus years. So he's well aware and familiar with the region here. We also have Chris Ruckey. He's the deputy design build project manager. He's our regional manager here in the Chesterfield area. He is on the call. He was on the last presentation too, and I failed to realize that. So Mr. Ruckey, sorry about that, but glad to have you here. And then myself, Kyle LeClaire. I am the design and construction integrator. So what that means on the first crossing is a is already designed by JMT that allows us to get into construction immediately, where crossing 2 and crossing 3 falls under the design build criteria. And so I am assisting our engineering partners of Rinker Design Associates and working with my construction folks and making sure that those things are well integrated. So that's my role on this particular project. And with that, I'll hand it over to Brandon to introduce his team.
Thanks, Kyle. Again, my name is Brandon Schock. I'm the Deputy Design Manager. I do have with me Daryl Fisher, the Design Manager for the project, and Tom Blazer, our Public Relations Manager. There we go. Tonight we'll discuss the purpose of the project, the construction schedule, an overview of the construction efforts that are going to take place at Horseman Creek, the detour route, and again, some additional construction impacts outside of the project limits. There is a chat function built into Teams. We would like for you guys to use that, ask questions. We will answer them at the end of the presentation. So the purpose of the project is to alleviate flooding at 3 locations along Otterdale Road. The county's entered into contract, as Kyle mentioned, with Concosin Construction Company to build the Horseman Creek crossing, which is fully designed and developed by JMT for the county. And the construction plans are approved with the necessary environmental permits and right-of-way cleared for construction to begin next month in March. Blackman Creek, crossing number 2, and Otterdale, crossing number 3, are currently being designed by Rinker Design Associates and will also be constructed by Concosin Construction Company. Tonight, we're going to focus in on Horseman Creek, the one in the red star. We'll have additional meetings on the other 2 crossings at a later date, but let's walk through the construction schedule or project schedule, if you will. Tonight is the Pardon Our Dust meeting. We are meeting today, and I did want to touch on, notice to proceed was given in February 2022. We have the Pardon Our Dust meeting today, and Horseman Creek there goes my screen again, guys. I apologize. Are you guys still seeing my screen?
We are, Brandon, but you might have to reshare like Daryl had suggested before.
All right, and we'll do that when if I need to, on the next slide. But so Horseman Creek construction will begin March 14th and extend through October of 2022. During this time, a detour will be in place, which we'll get into more detail later. But for the second crossing, Blackman Creek, we'll have another Pardon Our Dust in October of 2022. And again, followed by a similar detour plan. The road will be closed between November 2022 and June of 23. The third and final crossing, Otterdale Branch, will have another Pardon Our Dust in May of 23. And then again, another detour to construct Otterdale Branch between June of 23 and January 24. The proposed final completion is May of 2024. Each of these crossings by contract is required to take no longer than 7 months. So the construction of each crossing is also sequential, and a detour will be in place for the duration of the project. I'm going to move to slide 7. Can you guys see slide 7?
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you. The county's, excuse me, before we get into the detour, let's take a look at the proposed improvements. Horseman Creek currently has 2 existing 48-inch culverts underneath the roadway. These are severely undersized, as evident as the continued flooding that's occurred over the years. This project will construct a 2-span bridge over the creek crossing, improving the channel grading on both sides of the bridge, which will allow the 100-year flood to pass underneath the bridge. And the hydraulics now do consider both the existing conditions upstream and what future conditions may exist, and which is consistent with the county's comprehensive plan. These improvements are intended to fix the solution or fix the problem now, but also have have the future in mind for additional runoff. To also accommodate the storm runoff, the bridge is the bridge and the roadway are being elevated 8 feet in the vicinity of the roadway, or excuse me, in the vicinity of the stream crossing. This will taper out to the existing roadway grades about 800 foot south of the bridge and 600 foot north. And we can see this better on the next slide. The yellow highlights indicate the length of the project of roadway that's being raised and tied back down to existing on either end. The gray shade is the stream improvements that we're doing, and the orange is the bridge itself that's going to be constructed. There's stormwater management located in the left-hand side here. All of these graphics in the presentation tonight can be downloaded from the website Otterdale Road drainageimprovements.com. Please take a moment to check us out. So the display here is the proposed rendering in the top left and the existing conditions on the bottom right. As you can see, the stream grading that comes through the project, the 2-span bridge, nice new roadway with 5-foot paved shoulders and guardrail on approach to the bridge. It's a great improvement over the existing condition. One of the things we wanted to point out is that due to environmental impacts and right-of-way, and to minimize right-of-way impacts to the adjacent landowners, we'll be building this project under a detour. And with that, I do want to give Kyle an opportunity to talk about the detour and the construction impacts along the way.
Thank you, Brandon. We do want to talk about this detour. If Brandon, if you can help us orient a little bit as I talk here, the neighborhoods of Westerly, and he is highlighting it. We also have the neighborhoods of Summer Lake and the neighborhoods of Otterdale Point in the vicinity. This is just north of the closure. And so the county has set this project up to have a detour to bring people through the Woolridge Road corridor. So that being said, if you're in Westerly and you want to get to the intersections of Otterdale and Hull over where the Publix is over there, we would the detour signs will direct you to the north on Otterdale, coming out of Westerly, and out of Westerly over to the intersection of Genito and Otterdale with the new roundabout, and then heading down to Genito, down to the intersections of Woolridge Road, and taking a right going Woolridge, and obviously bringing you back around over to Otterdale Road and back to the Hull Street corridor there. Those are one of the questions we've been asked is if once we go on to Blackman Creek, and if you can highlight the area where Blackman Creek is, Brandon, on the screen, will the detour change? And it only changes for those it depends on if you're north of the current closure or south of the current closure. But generally for all crossings, we'll be utilizing Woolridge Road as the detour route. One of the other questions we received at the last presentation is how do we deal with folks that are coming down Otterdale and turnarounds and things of that nature. And what we want to point out is the detour signs are going to be all through this corridor. At the intersection of Genito Road and Otterdale Road, there will be a barricaded type sign, not blocking the road, but barricaded type sign off to the side. And you've seen these before. Road closed ahead, so many miles ahead, local traffic only. That will be one of the largest, the bigger deterrents of going down the road for through traffic that's coming down from the north. They will be directed on a Genito Road. The road for this particular closing will remain open all the way through Westerly. There may be some other barricade signs there just south of Westerly, just alerting folks that the road is closed. And then, of course, at the crossing itself, there will be significant barricades. We don't want anybody working inadvertently coming into the work zone. So those are a little bit of the aspects. If you're heading from the south, same thing. There will be heavy signs at the intersection of Otterdale and Woolridge to direct people onto Woolridge and around if you are heading from the south and heading up to the corridors to the north or Westchester or whatnot, or trying to get back to the neighborhoods of Summer Lake and Westerly and Otterdale Point. I'm sure there'll be some questions that pop up here as we go along here, but let's go ahead to the next slide and we'll hit questions here in a second. Brandon. My slide didn't change, so you may have frozen up.
No, it's
There you go.
changing.
Thank you. There it goes. There you go. Thank you. And it may be a delay on my end, so I apologize. In a part of the contractual requirements on this, and the county's done significant coordination with VDOT, especially on this first crossing, since it will be built first. There will be timing modifications at the intersection, the signal timing modifications at the intersection of Otterdale Road and Woolridge, and again at Woolridge and Genito. Those are significant intersections, and so the county wanted to ensure that we are trying to, with the change of traffic, try to make those intersections as efficient as possible. The county has also required us, as we continue on with construction, to monitor those intersections and initially make signal timing adjustments as we do start each crossing. So that will be an ongoing effort. We'll continue to work with VDOT. VDOT has control of the signal timing. Ultimately, they're the ones that enter the cabinets and make the changes. So that's an ongoing effort that we'll be doing, trying to make those intersections as efficient as possible through those areas. Brandon, let's go to the next slide. Okay, one of the things that we do want to point out, and normally we would meet in person, we would be face to face, and we would have these brochures out on the table. But unfortunately, given the current circumstances, we have this electronically. This is the brochure that typically the county hands out in a public meeting. This is available to you on the website, specifically under the horse pin icon. A lot of information here, some of it which has been covered tonight. Might be a little bit more detail in some other areas. So we invite you to please pull that down and then study it. And if you have any follow-up questions, and I will tell you how to ask questions from here on, if we can go to the website. Brandon, go to the very top. This is the project website. One of the items in the contract that the county is requiring us as the contractor is to produce and maintain a project-specific website, and that's what you see here. So as you scroll down on the website, you'll see 3 icons, and each one of those icons, if you click on them, don't need to do it here, Brandon, but if you click on them, that will take you to another page where you can download information, images. A lot of the things you've seen here tonight will be under the Horsepin Creek crossing. We do not have things under Blackman Creek and Otterdale Branch yet. Those will be coming once we get closer to construction for those crossings. As you go down a little further, there's 3 more images. The one on the left is giving you general schedule overall. And also the middle icon is giving you the detour, which we just covered. Just in case there's questions or you want to bring that image back up again and study it a little bit more, that's available to you. And then, of course, the right one is where we'll see most of the changes on the website of updates on construction activities. And we'll go into that in a little bit more in a second here. But as you scroll down, of course, you got the Chesterfield County icon and RDA, our engineering partner, and us as a general contractor. But here's the most important thing we want to make you all aware is if you have questions, obviously we want to hit some questions here tonight, but if you have questions afterwards or even in the midst of the project, you can come to this website and you can submit a question. We're required to monitor this. And with the county's assistance and input, we would respond to those questions as quick as possible. The other thing that we wanted to also point out is there is a subscription button here at the bottom. And what this will happen is this, we require to pull together a monthly update, a little bit more in depth of construction activity, some photographs, things of that nature, things that have happened, things that look ahead, things of that nature that's a little bit more in depth. If you want to subscribe to be alerted when that is posted on the website, certainly welcome to do that here, but that's the intent of the subscription. If we can go back to the next slide there, Brandon. All right, so this is the time where we want to interact with you all, and I really hate that the chat is it's virtual, but this is the best way to do it in a public setting. As I said, in the next, and Brandon alluded to this, in the next part in our desk meeting, circumstances are going well the way they look. We're looking forward to meeting in person because I definitely like to see people and whatnot. So hopefully that's the case. But this is the time. And Andrew, is there any questions? I think I see a couple here. If you wouldn't mind reading those off.
Yes, we do have one question so far. Are there any financial incentives to finish the project early or a penalty for a late completion of the project?
The answer to both of those is yes and yes. And Nate, would you like to elaborate on that since that was your contract that you guys put together for us?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Kyle. And thank you for the question. Yes, we have, for each of the 3 crossings, we have individual carrots and sticks, so to speak. When each day they finish early, they get a bonus. Each day that they're late, they get a penalty. And so there will be fines for being late, and there'll be bonuses for being early. Those are fixed dates that the contract is tied to. We find that this contract method is very advantageous to help our contractors get a lot of motivation, because everyone likes a bonus. So we are excited about using that method here. So each of the 3 crossings will have that. And so specifically for Horsepen, just to let you know how big a bonus it is $6,000 a day. So when they open, we want them to open this road back up fast. And we will be happy to help them out with that bonus if they get this thing opened up to traffic ahead of time. So,
Andrew, is there any more questions or comments that's come up? If not, we can revisit some of the ones we got earlier in case the listeners want to hear those.
Sure. No, that is all of the new questions that we have for now.
Okay. One thing I will elaborate on a little bit more is for those that are listening, the county contractually has required us to also do some pretty good intensive coordination with county stakeholders, and that includes fire, EMS, police, the county, the school system, specifically the transportation group within the county school system. So we held that stakeholders meeting last Friday to bring them up to speed on the project as well, and to alert them of changes so they can make their necessary changes on their side as well to make this as seamless as possible. So that is some ongoing things that have happened. Another typical question that we get on these jobs, will we be immediately closing crossing 2 once we finish crossing 1? And I've gotten that question in the past as well, and the answer is yes. And as soon as we close crossing 1, that segment opens back up, and then we go ahead and proceed to closing crossing 2. So we are required to have these pardon our desk meetings 30 days or so in advance, thereabouts, and so that way we can alert the public and our county stakeholders and partners of the changes that are required. Nate, I don't know if you have anything to elaborate on some of those things I just mentioned. I do have one more point that I can bring up as well for the listeners here.
No, I think you addressed that very well. So there may be another question that come in. I'm not sure.
Yes, we do have another question. Are there going to be any accommodations on Otterdale Road to enable a safe turnaround for vehicles?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And we've been talking internally about that as well. Most of our approach has been deterrence of letting the folks that are through travelers aware and heading them off before they get there. I do know that we are, once you get past Westerly, there are a few residents down there. I think there's 4 or 5 residential properties down there, and specifically to Horsepen Creek. And also on the other side of the creek, once you get past the Vol, there's only a couple, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 houses. I don't know exactly how many, but they're not as many. So our goal right now is to provide the barricades at south of Westerly so we can prevent folks from traveling further south, except for the local traffic to those local residences. So that's an ongoing conversation we're going to have, but it's a valid point. Nate, do you want to add anything else on top of that?
Brandon, if you could go back to the detour map for us so we could talk from a picture, and you could use your red dot and kind of help us communicate where these are going to be. So we have, our first line of informing the public of this is deterrence is right where Brandon is pointing at the intersection of Geneto at that roundabout. We're going to have some signage there that says road closed so many miles ahead. Also at the light over at Magnolia Green entrance at Woolridge and Otterdale. If you could mind putting the red dot over there, Brandon. Yep, there will also be another set of signs off the side of the road there that say, hey, this is Otterdale Road is closed so many miles ahead. When we get actually to the red circled area where it's labeled road closed, we will have actual barricades in the road at that point. And that red area is actually the last driveways for residents on either side. There will be an opportunity there if people make it past the signs that are at those main intersections we first pointed to. We will also have additional signs at the intersections leading up to they're going to pass at least like 3 signs saying the road's closed ahead. So if they're still not paying attention to that point, they will come up to the barricades and they'll be able to do a 3-point turn at folks' driveway entrance. And all those barricades will be reflective coating signs that will light up at night. So we are hoping to do what we can to make reasonable alerts to folks that they cannot make it through.
Andrew, looks like we had another question pop up. Would you mind reading that one off?
Yes. Are the proposed shoulders to accommodate a safe bicycle lane?
That's a very good question.
Nate,
yeah, the design is, yeah. So the design shows, it's a little hard to see in this, but if you download it off the web page, you can zoom in and see it. But they're standard 11-foot lanes with 5-foot paved shoulders. That paved shoulder is the area outside the white edge line. And so you'll have your center yellow, double yellow, you'll have 11 feet, then your outside white line, and then you'll have this additional 5 foot of asphalt shoulder that will accommodate a bicyclist to make that travel along the road in this area. It'll only be limited to the area that's in yellow here. So that will be part of that for this.
The other thing I may add, unrelated to the question here, but just something that came up in the last presentation that we did. One of the other things the county has required us to do is maintenance, early maintenance for clearing debris and sediment on the other 2 crossings. So for example, in Otterdale Branch, and Brandon, if you can get me to a larger picture here so we can point out Otterdale Branch. So crossing 3, that's the one where we have significant sediment buildup at the culverts. That's been an ongoing maintenance issue. So one of the requirements is the county has required us within 6 months of commencing work that we have to go in there and clean the sediment up. And what that does is it opens that culvert up hydraulically. So any large events has less likely to overtop while we're in construction. So we want to improve that as best as we can hydraulically on the initial phases of this. In addition to crossing 2, and many of you may have experienced this, but when you go cross Blackman Creek across the bridge and you start coming up the hill, there's a significant drainage channel that comes adjacent to the road. In larger events, it wants to encroach on the roadway. So part of the requirements is the county has wants us to clean out that ditch and that channel to open it up, so it less likely it will encroach on the road. And that cleaning of that swale and cleaning of that channel happens from the fire station all the way down to the actual creek itself. So those are things that they've required of us as kind of a way to alleviate the risk of encroachment while we're doing this job. The thing we're waiting on right now is permits to actually do that. Anytime we're working in a creek, we have to pull a nationwide permit. It's a standard procedure, but it's something that does take a month or so to obtain. Once we get those permits, then we'll start scheduling that work. We don't have the date exactly nailed down when we do it. We just have to do it within the first 6 months of commencing the project. So I just wanted to put that out there as something that came up in the last presentation that we did.
And updates like that is something that Kokosing will put up on our website that they're maintaining, and that website is anticipated to be a main communication device in addition to their Twitter page to help communicate regularly to let people know what's going on. We want to make an effort in this to better communicate as to how different phases of the construction are moving along. So when those things are actually scheduled, the website will be updated to alert people when the date range of that will happen.
Okay. Brandon, can you take me to the last slide, the one with the questions on it, or the question title?
I think you had one more question that got asked.
Yes.
Oh, maybe I missed that. Sorry about that. I apologize. Andrew, go ahead.
Will the shoulder on Otterdale Road be constructed in a manner which provides a surface angle that will be safe?
That's a very good question. So I don't know. I do have my design expert on the call. I believe Mike Shiflett. Are you on the call, sir? Still?
I don't see him on the
Okay,
listing
he may
here.
not be on the list anymore. Larry Brown, I don't know. Can you? Larry Brown is also on our JMT team, helping us through construction. Can you talk about the cross slopes of the road at all, Larry, a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, all cross slopes are up to AASHTO standards with less than a 7-degree angle break. With kind of hard to visualize that, but yes, everything is up to standard and safe for travelers and for bicyclists.
And so with that, there's VDOT and AASHTO standards that we are making sure that VDOT has gone through and approved all of our designs on this. We've got a permit through VDOT to do that. So it is a safe crossover, I guess is the short answer. If we're happy to take you through the long detailed answer, and then we're happy to explain the plans to if I'm not sure who asked that question, but please email me and we're happy to set up a meeting. I can bring all the experts I got, and we can take you through every detail on site or at your residence or at the county office or to go over those details. So we're happy to go through that.
Okay, and Brandon, would you mind taking us to that last slide there, right before the thank you slide? And yeah, just a couple of things to point out. If you can go back one more slide there, Brandon. We do want to just, Nate here, you've been hearing him speak tonight. He's available, as he just said, to answer any questions, reach out to him and whatnot. I do see some other questions that's come in. Andrew, do you mind reading that one for us?
Yes. Working in creeks requires coordination with the Army Corps of Engineers. This can take months and sometimes several years for their permitting. Will this affect the timeline?
Short answer to that is no. We already have our Horsepen Creek Army Corps of Engineers permit, and we actually anticipate in the next week or two getting our permit for the Blackman Creek. So we have been working at a feverish pace to try to get that going. JMT is our consultant to work through that environmental permitting, and they have done a superior job of making sure that we are in position to check every box and meet every requirement in order to make sure that we are properly mitigating whatever impacts to those creek beds and wetlands that we are going through there. I don't know, Carter Teague, I see you're on the call. You're a professional wetland expert, sir. Do you want to just speak a little bit to what we've been doing there to expand on what I said?
Yep, sure. Yes, as you said, Nate, we have secured the Horsepen permit and are very close with Blackman, and Otterdale will follow shortly after that one. So yes, we are moving forward and do not anticipate any hiccups with the permitting. And yes, you are correct. It can take quite some time to secure these, but yes, we're looking good in that regard.
Very good.
All right, great. Just to kind of head towards the closing here, we're certainly, as more questions pop up in the next few minutes, we're happy to address those. But as Nate said, he's available to answer questions. You can email him as being the representative of the county. In addition, Neil Tolley is the JMT on-site owner representative, and I'm sure folks driving through the county, I know I see a JMT truck typically at one of the county's sponsored projects, usually quite often. So no different here. They're going to be on the site. They're going to be watching us to make sure that we are doing as we're supposed to be. And the key to this project is going to be communication, not only communication with the team, but communication with the public, and specifically those who live in that corridor. If you all have noticed, there's VMS signs. We call those variable message signs, electronic signs that are posted out there currently to make you aware of the upcoming closure. You'll see those signs periodically as we close to the next closure, or as we announce the opening dates and things of that nature. So those are ongoing things that you'll be seeing. Looking forward to the next Pardon Our Dust meeting, and certainly please go to our website and continue to ask questions, and we will do our very best to answer in a timely manner. So with that, Andrew, I don't believe there's any other questions that's come in.
There are no further questions at this time, but I will let you know if any more pop up.
Okay. I will maybe pause here for a few minutes, and then Nate, I may have you close this out.
We do have a comment that just came through. Says, I would like to thank Kevin Carroll for making sure that a campaign promise was followed through on when he was elected as Matoaca supervisor. He has been very active in taking care of our county.
Very good. Appreciate that comment. This is the time of the presentation. We wish we had some sort of elevator music or something to pass the time, right, Nate?
You're on mute, Nate.
Well,
Yes, sir.
well, I don't think I'm as good as elevator music, but this is Kevin Carroll. I will say that I appreciate all of the hard work that's gone into the preparation for this. I know it's a long time coming, and I know it's going to be an inconvenience for the next, I guess, 21 months. Although I think it'll probably be less because I think that we've hired a great company that will probably knock this out quicker. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, and I think it's going to be great for the community once it's done. And I do appreciate everyone's patience, and I look forward to actually watching the projects as they unfold. So thanks again for providing this information to the community tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll.
Nate, it's 7:52. I'm almost reluctant to say we won't have any questions, but we being at this time of night, we may not get any more questions. Do you want to close this out, or do you want to wait a little bit more time?
Yeah, I think I think we're good with closing it out.
Okay.
Definitely, if anyone has any further questions, please email us, check the website for regular updates. We're looking forward to this project getting started. And because the quicker it gets started, the quicker it gets done. So we're very excited about it. This will be, we're looking forward to a great product and more reliable way to drive from A to B in this area of the county. So it's going to be really looking forward to it. So thanks everyone for coming. I appreciate the team putting on a great presentation here, and definitely looking forward to the fall when we are able to, or maybe the summer if everything goes super great and we get done early. Maybe we'll do this in the summer, and we'll do it in person hopefully. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time, and we look forward to the project.
Everyone have a good evening. I think this is the end of the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Great job.